Hey everybody, today's the day. This is our first day of boiling for 2023. We're gonna make some maple syrup today. Pretty exciting. I wanted you to see from the ground up. I've already got the evaporator set up here, but I cover it in case it rains. So I just wanted you to see everything that I do. I got fire bricks here that hold on the covering. Rubber mat, just because there's a few holes in this cover. No parking. I didn't steal it. It was in my shed when I moved in. Finally, we have to take the smokestack bucket off. I'm gonna move you in to look. And there's what we're looking at inside. Fire bricks. I got one doubled up right here so that the flames kind of hit that and go up into the pan. That's why we call this an arch, because of that arch effect. I want you to see from this end. This is the door where I'll put in the wood. I leave that open a lot. This is my bubble level. I like to make sure that everything's level. Alright, now I can level things off. I've got these strips to put in there. It looks pretty good right now. It's almost perfect. But I want some of those strips on there to hold that pan in place too, so it doesn't slide at all. I think that's going to be good since the pan was already level without these. This just gives it some padding and it keeps that pan a little more stable. Now I like to start a fire in here before the pan goes on. As soon as I put the pan on, I immediately put sap into it. Immediately. Fire, time for the pan. The pan floor is covered with sap, so now I can relax a little bit and adjust the level of the pan. Hard to see because it's starting to steam now. I have to blow away the steam a little bit to see the sap in the pan. I have a cooler with sap in it over here. I buried it in snow in a snow pile. We make snow piles and call them refrigerators. So in that sap is some ice. The ice and sap is mostly just water, so I can get rid of that. That's some water I don't have to boil away, so that's good. I like to gather my sap in the morning so that the buckets have ice in them where the sap froze, and I just remove that ice. We almost have a boil going here. I'm going to put the warming pan on top of the big pan now. See how it has a valve? That's how I release the sap into the big pan. I can adjust the flow, make it just drip in, or let it flow at a faster rate if I want to, depending how much I need in the big pan or how hot the sap is in the warming pan. Are you thinking gross? He put his fingers right in the sap. Doesn't matter. My hands are cleanish, and we're gonna boil and boil and boil and boil and boil. So it will be pretty clean and sterile by the time we're finished. Plus, we don't sell the maple syrup, we just use it for ourselves. Very, very close to a boil already here. On these warmer days in late winter, we'll start to see snow fleas. They might look a little bit like mosquitoes, a little bigger than mosquitoes, but they don't bite or anything. They're totally harmless. Snow fleas, just a sign of spring. Springtime and wintertime. Because we have the boil going, it's really hard to see the level of the sap in the pan. So I need to make sure that it doesn't get too low to where it exposes the bottom of the pan. That would be bad. That would be horrendous, because that would ruin my pan. And it's an expensive pan. Plus, while it's boiling, it develops a sludge or a white foam on top of the sap while it's boiling. So I got my trusty spoon. It has holes in it. That way we can skim off the sludge and fling it down into the snow on the ground or whatever. In our family, we call this the Runcible spoon. Technically, it's not really a Runcible spoon, but do you know the book, The Owl and the Pussycat? The owl and the pussycat went to sea on a beautiful pea green boat. And then it goes on to say that they ate what? Slices of quince. And they ate, which they ate with a Runcible spoon. And that was always a favorite of our kids, that book. And I think of their parents too. So we call this our Runcible spoon ever since. They dined on mince and slices of quince. That's how it goes, which they ate with a Runcible spoon. Good memories. There it is. That's what I'm skimming off the top. It's kind of a sludgy foam. It's not harmful or anything, but when I remove that foam, that gives a greater area of evaporation for the sap, so that I get a better evaporation. That foam is like a cap or a covering, a lid if you will, on the sap. And I want to expose that sap so that it, as much as possible, can evaporate as fast as possible. The main pan has a valve on the other side, and I can see the hole for that valve in the pan, and I kind of use that hole to judge how much sap is in my pan when I can see that hole. Look at that boil. Isn't that pretty? Listen to it boil too. That sound is a sound I love to hear when I'm making maple syrup. Tells me I'm doing good. My trusty orange wheelbarrow is good for gathering wood when I need it. I keep the wood dry, so I go gather some more wood and bring it over. You can see a snow pile in the background. That's one of my refrigerators that I made the other day. I'm so glad that you had an opportunity to see how we start making maple syrup.